Hello, this is David Lorimer here. I happen to be in Bologna, in Padua, with my friend Filippo, and we've just been talking this morning at breakfast about calling, about answering our calling and being true to ourselves. So I thought I'd just reflect on that with you for a moment or two, partly in terms of my own experience, going back to the time when I was at University of St Andrews studying philosophy, existentialism, and first coming across the notion of authenticity, or being true to oneself and true to others, as I quoted from Goethe the other day. And in finding one's calling, one may go on a diversion to begin with and finish up in, quote, the wrong place. But the wrong place is always the right place eventually, because you learn something from being in that place. In my case, it was a merchant bank, Morgan Grenfell, in the city. So I was encouraged to go into the city because of my background, but I soon realized I was a kind of square peg in a round hole, or round peg in a square hole. In other words, not in the right place for really who I was. And then I came across this idea of the blueprint from a book called Testimony of the Light by Helen Greaves. And the blueprint is, if you like, a kind of soul pattern that we come into incarnation with. And in being true to that blueprint, you then stay, as it were, on track. And so when I realized that I was in the wrong place, I happened to go down to Charterhouse and visit a friend of mine, Robert Bogdan. We'd lived together in St Andrews. He was a very good hockey player. And I thought, well, teaching in a school like this is really a wonderful way of contributing and answering a calling. And so what I then did is I went abroad for a year, and I worked showing people around champagne cellars and cognac chais and reading. I had 4 boxes of books, and I read all those books in the year. Then I went to Cambridge, and after I had done the education course at Cambridge, I then got my first teaching job at Fettes in Edinburgh, and then later for 4 years at Winchester College. And in each of those cases, or particularly in the case of Winchester, I had a feeling that this was how it was going to unfold. So I was reading the Times educational supplement in Cooper, visiting my poetry tutor, Ian Higgins. And I happened to buy a Times educational supplement, and I read Winchester College. And there was a French and German job at Winchester College. And as soon as I read the advert, I knew I was going there. And it's an extraordinary feeling if you follow this inner track of your life, that the right things happen at the right time. Now, I don't know how this is going to land with you, the listener, and where you are in your life in terms of your calling. But you could ask yourself, well, what am I called to do now at this stage of my life? And am I oriented with my deepest values and purpose? So I'll leave you with that question. Thanks very much for listening.